Greetings, Friday Nights and Monster Girls. I'm Count Jackula.
And I'm the Horror Guru.
And we just saw Suspiria.
The remake of the classic Dario Argento film.
Yeah.
And, holy shit.
It's really super fucking good.
This is a really good remake, but it's also a very different movie. Like,
yeah.
So
yeah.
you need to know that going in. If you're going in expecting like they're gonna oh, it's a different style, but it's gonna be the same movie. No, this is very different.
No. But it is just like the Evil Dead movie. It is just enough, like the original, to count as a remake.
Well, absolutely, because it takes a lot of the elements. Yeah. You know, there's still a dance school. There's still
a Madame Marcos.
Yes, there's still a coven of witches.
Mm-hmm.
There is still surreal kills and murders and deaths. There's still 70s style, like, psychedelic filmmaking in weird ways. A lot of new wave influence in this. But it's done so differently. Everything's done so differently.
Yeah. And I think one of the initial, the most obvious changes is instead of this being a ballet school, it's so this thing is set in the 70s.
In Berlin.
And it's not a dance school, it's a dance company, and they are doing what was modern popular dance in Germany at the time.
And specifically, the Madame's own dances that they came up with. I think they were doing a dance that Madame Marcos came up with and one that Madame Blanc came up with.
Yeah.
In this movie, magic is dance.
Yes. Yeah. That's true in the first one, in the original as well, but it's not very overt.
Not the way it is in this.
In this one, it's super fucking overt. It's like the dance moves in this movie are the same as a wizard in D&D having to use hand motions. Yeah. You know.
And that's not a spoiler because that's like one of the first things that really happens.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is a very slow movie. Like
it's 2.5 hours.
I know a lot of people would probably say that about the original Suspiria, but this takes a lot more time.
No, the original Suspiria is like a tight 90-minute, like fucking...
This is like a 2.5 hour movie, and I don't think you get like the first like kill in the movie until like the first like 35 minutes.
Yeah, but there's so much crazy shit going on that you don't even register that the kill hasn't happened yet. Yeah. You know, because you're just so entranced as to what's happening.
But like the first thing we see happen is magic being used in that way.
Yeah.
Dance being used in that way is magic. Yeah.
Basically, the whole witch reveal, that happens really early on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just fucking flat out tell you.
They pretty much tell you like in the opening epilogue. Like it's, you know.
Yep. And it's...
And then that's another thing, like an element they took from the original movie. There is a student who is scared of the school at the beginning of the movie, but the context is all different.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. This one, it makes it a lot more... it's a lot more reasonable that this Susie would basically wouldn't just go like, fuck it, I'm out of here. You know, I'm fucking out of this shit. What the fuck's going on? You know, like this is much more like, oh, I guess some girls just collapse because they can't take it. The other thing
is that the original movie is kind of known for being very dreamlike.
Yes.
This movie has a lot of dreamlike editing, but even still, it's a lot more plot heavy.
Oh, yeah. It's very plot and story heavy, and it's very logic. It's its own consistent logic keeps going, and it's very easy to follow. That was a thing that I thought was actually kind of an interesting...
Despite the super dreamlike way it was presenting some things.
Yeah.
You know, like it would sometimes have scenes in which conversations, it's either it is showing you conversations that happened previously or are about to happen through voiceovers, or people are communicating telepathically. You're not quite sure when they're happening.
Yeah. The movie actually, like, for those of you who've seen like Naked Lunch, you know that scene where fucking Dude Boy is like, if you'll look at my lips, you will notice that they do not match what I am saying. Yeah. And Suspiria does that too.
And whether or not one of those are happening, it doesn't matter. You still get the information to move the plot along.
Exactly.
You know, even if you're a little confused on what's physically happening on the screen, you know what narratively is happening.
Yeah. And the things that sometimes when they have to like just spell things out for you just to make sure that they get it, That's there to make sure everyone's caught up because you already understand this.
And there's a couple of moments. There's a couple of moments where it's absolutely necessary that they did that. So I'm glad they did.
Yes,
because like this movie dares you to keep up with it.
Yeah.
So you have to keep paying attention because if you miss even like a slight second of information, you can be lost. Really fast.
Yeah. You could get lost in this movie, but they do a really good job. Of leading you around
without feeling like I was being handheld.
No, not at all.
It's not like a movie, like a modern American movie, which would have the problem of like telling me too much. Yeah. This movie did a really good job of showing me information in very interesting and unique ways.
Yeah. Like to me, the worst offender that I have ever seen was the Silent Hill movie.
Oh God, yeah.
Where
every other scene, here's let's have a big monologue about what's going on.
Yeah. And especially when they do the fucking like exposition scene, I found myself going like, this is obviously supposed to be filmed like with the intention of pulling off the Argento Fulci move.
Yeah.
But because they just put a voiceover to it, it ruined everything.
Yep.
It wasn't there to explain things that might have been obtuse. It actually just ruins the entire scene.
Absolutely.
But Suspiria does not do that. Even the times when they explain something, it's to explain something that you need to know that you might not have fucking caught on to explicitly.
And one of the big changes between this and the other Suspiria movie is that you get a lot of the witches side of things.
Oh, yes.
You actually get to see behind the walls what's going on when the students are sleeping and shit like that. Now, it shows you it shows you in ways where at first you might not be sure that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But you do get that information, and over time it becomes clearer what's going on.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is very interesting about this movie is this one, more than the original, is more focused on the three mothers concept.
Yes, it's really focused on it. Like, it's brought up multiple times. There's a character who's investigating the entire school, and in their investigation, they have like an entire notebook filled with all the stuff that they've learned throughout the investigation, through like interviewing people at the school or a person who told them a bunch of information about it. And in the book, you could see the three mothers all laid out.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the original Suspiria is part of a trilogy called the Three Mothers trilogy. There's Suspiria, Inferno, and
Mother of Tears.
Which, to be fair, are all in descending levels of quality. If you graph the quality line, it does not go up.
Yep. And it's a stark drop between Inferno and Mother of Tears.
Yeah. Because Inferno is like not quite as good as Suspiria, but it's pretty good. And then you're like, oh.
Yep. And then it's
whoa, that's just bad.
That being said, and Mother of Tears is funny to watch. I find that movie hilarious.
God, yeah. It's just like,
but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. This one, it feels like they're leaving it open so they could remake all three of those movies.
Which I would be cool if they did. That'd be cool if they did. My only worry is that I'm not sure this movie would have a big enough audience to do that. Because it's such a weird remake of a movie that was already pretty weird and has a cult audience. And I guarantee you there's going to be a subsect of Suspiria fans that are put off by this movie because it is weird even by Suspiria standards.
Yeah. It does a lot of strange shit. And if you don't successfully put yourself into the receptive state where you're going to receive the movie as it comes to you, it could fuck up the experience, and that's one of the inherent problems of remakes. Yeah, which is if you do a really good remake, there's a chance a lot of people aren't going to like it just because it's a remake.
Yes.
And not even like with the deliberate like it's a remake, therefore it sucks, man. But just like that fucking like you're expecting certain things to happen. Yep. But you haven't admitted it to yourself.
Well, it's interesting because you have a case where you take a cult film.
Yeah.
Like a cult classic, and then you remake it and you try to make a new cult film out of that.
Yeah.
Which might not have the same audience as the original one. So it's a really interesting case.
Yeah, it is. One of the things I thought was really fucking interesting about this movie is that there is a lot more. There's very little nudity in the movie, although it's there.
There's nudity, but it's not as much as you'd think.
Yeah, there is full frontal of both genders, by the way, just letting you know.
There's a lot more body horror in this movie.
Oh, there's a ton of body horror in this. Oh my God. Like, that's one of the things. Like, the original Suspiria is really, 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 really freaky, but it's not disgusting.
Well, yeah, it's a lot more like a slasher movie. Yeah. In terms of like the way people die and the horrific things that happen.
Throats get cut. Yeah. It's an Argento film, so you know some girl's face is going to go through a window, like that kind of shit. But like this one is got a lot of Black Swan influence.
Oh, yeah. hardcore.
Where you're looking at it, you're like, oh my god.
To
the point where even like the normal dance moves kind of make you go, yeah.
Like, you know? I said this to Jack when we left the movie. This movie felt like Suspiria was remade by Brian De Palma, but with huge influence of Black Swan.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. There's which is appropriate since Brian De Palma fucking ripped off a lot of Argento.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, hey, whoosh, bam, you know?
Just a lot of the visual things it did felt less Argento and more De Palma. And I was
like the split. It uses the split focus.
The split diopter.
And it does. It also does the Jesus Franco like zoom focus.
Yes.
You know, which is very, very popular in
70s
Jesus Franco movies and in Japanese television. You know.
It liked to do a lot of scenes through reflections, which I thought was really interesting. They would have these really strange compositions, but you would realize that, the reason why it's composed this way is because you're supposed to be seeing the other side of the conversation through that mirror there. But it's really easy to get lost in the frame because there's so much going on in the shot.
Yeah. Like I feel like that was kind of like them setting up the idea of like that magical concept of the veil.
Yes.
You know, but sometimes the veil is clear like a window and sometimes it's opaque like a curtain.
Yep.
You know?
They did a great job of that.
Oh, they did. It was
all
so
the
good.
visual metaphors in this movie is glorious.
Oh, man. And I don't think we can say we've talked about the movie until we've talked about Tilda Swinton.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
all right, there's a part
shit.
of that I want to save for the spoilers.
I agree.
For the simple reason that Tilda Swinton's role is a lot bigger in this movie than you realize.
Yeah, but she's amazing in this movie. Like, she's always great, but this is one of those,
Here's the thing. If you do not know something about the production of this movie, you might go into this movie and watch her and go like, she's great, but you do not realize how great she is yet.
Yeah, we'll cover that when we get to the spoilers. But like, needless to say, this is one of Tilda Swinton's greatest moments.
It's one of her best performances, bar none.
Wow. Yeah,
I love her in this movie.
It's fucking incredible. Now, if you're like, hey, all girls school with witches and women, is there any lesbian action? And the answer is yes.
There's a lot.
But it's not like, it's not watching two girls fuck. There's a romance element.
There's a romance element to it. There's also like, subtle things that happen in shots that you might miss if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Like there's just one shot in which like all the dance instructors have taken all the girls out after a celebratory performance. And like if you're paying attention to the shot, it just looks like, if you're not paying attention to the shot, it just looks like everyone's celebrating, everyone's drinking or whatever. But if you're paying attention closely to the shot, you'll notice that all the old witches are like touching
touching the young ones.
Touching the young ones sensually and casting something on them because they're looking differently after they're touched.
Yeah.
Because like,
yeah. Absolutely. You know, it's like they've ensorcelled them. They've enchanted them. You know?
So there's a lot of that. And there's also like a huge implication that the witches are pretty much just fucking each other. Like,
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I love the fact that they homaged the original Suspiria by having you remember like in the original one, there's that old witch who's like the cook.
Yeah.
You know, they homage her. That character is in the movie, even though she's not named.
Yep.
You know? And I was like, no, you're right. You've got to have that.
The thing they didn't homage that I was kind of hoping was that there was no blind guy with a dog. I really wanted a blind guy.
The funny thing was it looked like at any moment that was actually going to happen. You know, because some of the shit that happens to that guy, some of the stuff that guy does in the movie exists in the movie,
but it's different role.
But it's a different role, yeah. And I was sort of like, are they just gonna bring him on? You know, I thought the best thing would have been to actually bring that role back, but have it be very brief and played by Dario Argento.
That'd have been cool. Yeah. That'd have been really cool.
But that probably would have been off message.
Yeah,
that'd have been a little off message. You know?
There's a huge chunk of this movie that is in German. So there's a lot of subtitles.
Yeah. So this movie's subtitled no matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
You know, most of the shit, the stuff that's important to make sure everyone has is in English. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff in German. So you could be reading subtitles sometimes, which I actually was super okay with because for me, it was like watching those old like Italian horror films and everyone's dubbed bullshit, you know? So I felt like, oh, I get it. we're just going to have subtitles because these movies were always
that was weird. There
languages.
were certain scenes, and I don't know if this is true, but there were certain scenes where I was watching it, and I was watching some of the characters speak, and I'm like, did they do that dubbing thing that Italian movies did with this character? Because it just felt like it.
Well, that's yeah, they did that. They did that in every scene where there was a telepathic message happening, where they basically had the actors redub their lines, but not in sync to the mouth movements.
Yeah.
So they could get across the fact that there was a psychic conversation happening.
Yeah, this movie had a lot going on. Like, it's really long, it's very slow, but you have to pay attention to everything. It's...
Yeah,
Oof.
super good. And there is one thing that is not quite a spoiler, but I think I want to tell you to entice you to see it before we get to the spoiler section, which is this. The original Susie, the actress, shows up in this movie.
It's nice.
And it's nice.
It's real nice.
It was one of those things where it was like, you see her for only a brief moment at first, and I'm like, you know, and then you're like, that was cool. And then she comes back again, and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful. I love it, man. All right. And with that, let's move on to spoilers. All right, spoiler number 1. You may not have noticed if you've already seen the movie, but the old psychiatrist, that's Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, she plays both Madame Blanc and
Dr.
whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's complicated, long in German.
They're not the same character.
No.
She's just playing both roles.
Yeah, she just plays both roles.
And masterfully, I might add.
Yeah. Well,
the only thing that really gives her away is that if you know it's her, her voice becomes very obvious.
Yes. Yeah, if you're really familiar with Tilda Swinton, you're going to be watching him, you're going to be like, wait, that sounded like Tilda Swinton for like a hot second. You know, and then you start to look at really deep and you're like, holy shit, that is her. But fucking, no, I know exactly what Tilda Swinton's going for. She's like, Glenn Close is my idol and I love her and she's great, but she ain't gonna live forever and someone's gonna have to fucking move into that slot who's got the talent in order to pull that shit off. Holy shit. No. Tilda Swinton, if she lives long enough, she's going to be the next Glenn Close.
Oh, definitely. She's fantastic.
I'm saying it right now. It's amazing.
Some other spoilers in this movie, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but we didn't really talk about it, is that this movie has a lot more of a socio-political context than the original
very
Suspiria,
much, yeah.
Because it's using the fact that it takes place in Berlin in the 70s, just 20 years after the war, as part of its, like, background.
Yeah, it's Cold War. Checkpoint Charlie, East Germany and West Germany are a fucking thing.
The old man is basically dealing with the fact that he hasn't seen his wife since World War II.
Yeah.
And it's hugely implied that she was taken by the Germans, or she was taken and put in a camp.
Yep. Yep. Well, the one thing that wasn't entirely clear was they don't. You have to infer because they don't flat out tell you which side of the Iron Curtain you're on at any moment.
Yeah, sometimes it's
you know that you're on. The movie sets up one side is like this, the other side is like that. But which one is East and West Germany? They don't flat out tell you.
Yeah, it's a little harder to discern.
Yeah, it's a little hard to discern, but that's actually that actually works given everything that's going on because the witches have a political loyalty and that's very obvious, but they don't tell you what it is because that's secondary and only informs everything else that they're doing.
Well, what was it? Yeah. One thing I was really impressed with this movie is that the performances of the actors and the actresses and everyone involved is so good that you might not notice that's Tilda Swinton for a really long time.
Oh no, yeah, no, it took me almost 2 hours to realize that was her.
But B, this movie opens up with Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah.
Being interviewed by Tilda Swinton, and at first I didn't realize it was either of them.
Oh no, yeah, I
didn't realize it was Chloe Grace Moretz, and I didn't realize that was Tilda Swinton.
I noticed it was Chloe Grace Moretz right at the end, like at the end before like the fucking the opening credits rolled, but. Because I was like, I got that one look, and I'm like, I know those eyes and that face. bam, that's Chloe Moretz. Oh, crap, that was great.
That was great. I didn't even realize it was her.
Fucking Tilda Swinton in that scene got right by me. I had no hope. It's such a, like, you've got Tilda Swinton's Tilda Swinton performance that she usually does, which is always subtly different. But you know what I mean when it's like, oh, it's Tilda Swinton being ethereal and, you know, speaking like this, like I'm perhaps a fairy queen or an evil witch who's come to tempt you with the powers of darkness. You know, you've got that. But that psychiatrist performance is nothing like it. That's the big acting moment because that's her playing a character that she has crafted specifically for this fucking movie.
Yep.
You know, and
he's like an amalgamation of other characters from the original movie, like that one old doctor who studied the Holocaust.
Yeah. Like, well, he's an amalgamation of fucking the old doctor and a boy.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, you must fuck life in the gallbladder. God damn it. Udo Kier. Yeah, Udo Kier. He's a combination of Udo Kier and the older psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. But he has his own goddamn story. And one of the things I love about that character is I was shocked that they did this because it's one of those, you didn't have to do this, but you knew that it was somehow important. Which was, this is a movie all about women.
Yep.
So there has to be one guy. Mm-hmm. There has to be one male. You know, 3 mothers. There's got to be some father figure.
Yeah.
You know, of some sort. You know, in order so you can have that foil. Mm-hmm. But he's not the villain.
No, he's not.
He's not the villain. And they tell you what he is. He's the witness.
Yep.
He is the guy. He's the one who has to see all this to
That's another thing.
Oh.
Unlike the original Suspiria, not every this witch academy is at odds with itself.
Yeah.
And not everyone's evil.
Yeah. They in the beginning they have to have this vote because of something that has happened, which is Chloe Moretz's character has disappeared.
Yeah.
And so
they're having a vote on who's going to be the leader and who's going to lead them to
who's going to lead the ritual. Yeah. Who's going to lead the ritual that they're working on. And there are 2 sides. One is Madame Marcos and the other is Madame Blanc, who is Tilda Swinton. Yeah. And they have this vote scene in the beginning that pays off at the end of the movie.
Well, the thing is that the way they did that vote scene is that when I first saw it, I thought that, like, okay, you're showing us the characters getting ready to do the vote and you're showing us the vote in voiceover.
Yeah.
But now when I think back on that scene, I'm like, was that just an entirely mental voting process?
Yeah, exactly. That's
just
exactly
psychic,
what it was.
like a psychic conversation between all of them? Because I would believe it.
Yeah. And the thing that's really fucking great about it that you don't realize until the end of the movie is they haven't shown you who voted for what.
Yeah, you can hear the voices.
Yeah, you can recognize the voices, but you don't recognize the faces because they don't show you.
But the other thing they kind of really establish is that Mother Marcos, who's their leader, calls herself Mother, but she's a false mother. She's not actually Mother Suspiria.
Yeah, the people who are loyal to Madame Blanc are sort of like, I don't know if she should be calling herself Mother Suspiriora.
Yeah.
You know, that's a little like that's like fucking Anton LaVey flat out calling himself Satan.
Yeah.
That might be going a little too far.
A little step too far.
Yeah, that might be a little
Which you don't realize how much that's going to be a plot point as the movie goes on and it becomes like a huge
becomes a major plot point.
Because that's probably the biggest spoiler we could tell you is what happens at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Because it turns out this entire movie they've been basically nurturing the main character, Dakota Johnson's character, to be a vessel for Mother Marcos.
Yeah.
Whose own body is basically dying and rotting and has like a million different diseases.
Yeah, and that's like a fucking body horror moment in and of itself.
When you see her.
Because you're like, okay, so she's going to be sick because, like, you know, she's the mother of 5, so she... You know, because from the original, she's like a sick old woman. You know, even though you only see her for like a brief second. In this one, they full on body horror it.
Yeah.
Where she is like, she's not just fucking like diseased and old. She is burned and mutated.
She's got fucking body parts of like babies coming out of her.
Yes,
it's freaky.
Yeah, because she has that like you know how some like dark goddesses have like that skirt of hands.
Yeah,
she has that, but it's like literally emulging from like folds in her flesh.
It's
and you're like,
creepy.
Oh, and she's got like these frog lips from like the burn. And, and she's got those, like, evil old fucking old lady glasses that, like, all women over 70 in movies, like the old Asian lady fucking sunglasses. And she speaks like this.
That's the thing I'll say about this movie.
This movie,
I love the original Suspiria. This is far more unsettling.
Yeah.
Some of the shit it shows you.
Yeah. Like, the first one is a lot more, like, horror and freaky, like I
said, it's more slasher.
Yeah, it's more slasher, fairy tale slasher. This one is all right. We're just gonna, instead of going for the scare, we're just gonna flat out unsettle you.
Yeah.
We're just gonna make everything fucking unsettling. And one of the improvements is it doesn't have a lot of those. Why the fuck is happening? Like
when you get into that room of barbed wire.
Yeah. The room of barbed wire in the original. Like that was that's a moment where you watch it and you're like, why? Why did that happen? I'm not saying I hate the scene. I just want to know why specifically there's just a room of barbed wire.
The weird part is that there's a weird homage to that in this movie in which one of the characters is trying to figure out what's going on behind the scenes in the school. And so she's searching the school and she comes upon this room that has a bunch of the missing students and they're all like zombies.
Yeah.
But in that room, like the design of that room with the weird strings that are attached to the walls, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be their homage.
Oh, yeah. It was totally their homage to the barbed wire scene. Yeah. But it made sense, why the room existed.
Yeah.
Why all the wires were there.
Yeah.
And the discovery of the room itself is a reveal.
Yep.
Because the entire time you've been told, like, you're led to believe that, all these girls have been killed. No, it's worse.
Yeah. Well, one of them, they keep telling him, just ran off and joined the Resistance.
Yeah.
And has been bombing shit.
Yeah. That would be Chloe Moretz's character.
Yeah.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah. But it turns out she's basically a zombie.
Yeah. They keep them in a state between life and death in a broken, tortured position.
Because even though they turned out to be failed vessels, they might be useful for the coming ritual.
Yeah. They might be. They could still be background dancers. Oh my god. And
there's another spoiler. The scene in which we finally see how the magic is done with the dancing, is when a character had just gotten into a fight with Madame Blanc, and the witches decide that they are going to kill her.
Yeah.
Kill her because she called them witches. So she cannot go.
Yeah, she knows.
So they have the main character, Dakota Johnson's character, perform that character's dance. And before doing that, Madame Blanc touches her and presses something onto her. And so while she's doing the dance, it basically contorts and twists the other girl's body into this like fucking mangled form, and every little movement she does with the dance like contributes to it. Yeah,
they fucking Rubik's Cube that girl.
Oh god, that's like one of the most like viscerally horrifying scenes in the movie.
Yeah,
because you have to like look away with every crunch and every crack and she's just crying, just like,
oh my god,
she doesn't deserve it. Like,
yeah, she doesn't, and that ultimately leads to there's one of the homages to the Mother of Tears is that there's a witch who cries.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of bait and switch because you're supposed to be like, oh, is she the Mother of Tears? Is Madame Blanc Mother Tenebrae? Turns out, no. But they wanted to homage that because, like, they're witches, and so, like, these kind of, like, metaphors and symbols echo through them. Mm-hmm. And because that's something they actually kind of bring... They fucking tell you is that, like dance, power echoes through you. Someone else has designed it, but you play the role, and all that stuff. And Marcos's big problem is that she comes to believe she is Mother Superiora.
Which leads into the twist at the end of the movie, which is the biggest spoiler in the entire goddamn movie. Because the twist at the end of the movie, when Mother Marcos and the ritual comes to fruition, we are going to do the ritual, and Mother Marcos is going to transfer her being into Dakota Johnson's character. But Dakota Johnson, it turns out, was being set up as a vessel for Mother Suspiria the entire time secretly.
Yeah, not Mother Marcos.
So Mother Suspiria,
the mother of size.
So Mother Suspiria shows up, and they're like, "Who are you?" And Dakota Johnson speaks for her. Is like, "I am Mother Suspiria."
Yeah,
and then she kills Mother Marcos, and then kills everyone who voted.
Yeah, everyone who voted for Marcos.
Yeah.
Now, because you could tell that there are two things that have happened. One, it is because before the ritual begins, Marcos kills Madame Blanc.
Yes, which is apparently, it's very obvious that Mother Suspiria supported Blanc, not Marcos.
Yeah. The real mother of size was on Blanc's side.
Yep.
Not Marcos's side, and this is the final fucking straw.
Yeah.
Now that they're doing a ritual to fucking do this, like, transmigration of souls, this gives Mother Suspiria the opportunity, now that the veil is thin enough, to come through and actually enact her will.
And the movie sets this up in this really subtle way, because, like, you have these scenes in which Dakota Johnson is performing these dances, and you see, like, this green hand, this green clawed hand, like, touching the ceiling below her. The floor below her, but the ceiling from where they are.
Yeah. And you think at the beginning, this is where they're really clever, you think at the beginning that must be Mother Marcos because they haven't shown you Mother Marcos yet.
Yes.
But they keep talking about her.
But then when you finally see Mother Marcos, you're like, okay, that might be her. She does have clawed fingers, but she's not green.
Yeah, she's not brackish and green.
But then when Mother Suspiria actually shows up, you're like, oh, that's the hand we were seeing.
Yeah.
The reason why she was having this experience was not Mother Marcos. It was because Mother Suspiria was secretly attaching herself to her while she was dancing.
Yeah. I feel like the movie can be I want to condense this movie in a funny way, which is it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I want to be a witch. Because that's another thing that separates this Susie from the other one. Susie,
she wants
to become a witch. Like, by the end of it, she's like, "Oh no, I'm in.
And Mother Blanc,
I am in."
And Madame Blanc has like this like mother-daughter relationship with her, like hardcore.
Yeah, well, it's
there's a lot of mother stuff in this.
Yeah.
Because she has problems with her own mother.
Yes.
There's a mother who wants her, Mother Marcos. There's Madame Blanc who sees her like this daughter she's got to protect, and then there is the actual mother of size.
Mother of size. Well, the other thing that I thought was interesting, and this is why I thought it was important that all the lesbian imagery be in there, which is that it demonstrates what is known in the lesbian world as I think it's a spring-fall relationship, where it's an older woman and a younger woman who are in a romantic relationship, and that's obviously going to have a little bit of that, mother-daughter stuff to it, but there is something romantic going on there.
I didn't see that though.
I did.
I didn't. No.
I did. I do see what you were talking about though.
Yeah, I saw it was 100% mother and daughter, especially since it was so focused on mother.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, I saw the lesbian stuff with all the other witches and stuff.
Yeah. But I feel like there was a blending of those two.
It's possible. You might be right. You might be intentional.
Yeah, but it's you could definitely interpret it either way. Mm-hmm. So holy crap, the fucking. I don't know what else to talk about with this movie because like it leaves you speechless.
Yeah, it's really good, and there is a lot going on in this movie that we haven't really even addressed. So I recommend you go see it.
Yeah. Well, like the whole plot with the psychiatrist and why he's there.
It's a huge chunk of the movie, but like we haven't even like scratched that.
Yeah. Oh my God. You feel the thing is that you feel so bad for that guy. Mm-hmm. Like it's one of those things where you feel bad for all the girls. And everyone, well, maybe not Marcos. Mm-hmm. You don't feel bad for Marcos.
Marcos is you don't really feel anything for.
But there's so many deaths in this movie. You're like, oh, that's horrible. But watching the poor psychiatrist go through, witnessing all of this,
that part at the end when he's just crying, like I am innocent.
Yeah. And you're kind of like, what is he talking about? And they reveal that at the end, which is like, he's like, are there men in Germany who are guilty? Of course, but I'm not. And you realize that what it is, the guilt that he carries with him, is that he's Aryan.
Yep.
He qualified as Aryan, but he wasn't a Nazi.
Yeah.
And he carries that guilt with him.
Yep.
Because he didn't suffer where others did.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh. Oh.
That was a great reveal, too.
Oh, God. And then of course, the mother sighs that, like, kind of absolves him at the end. It's like...
And tells him what happened to his wife so he can finally put that to rest.
Yeah.
After the witches used his wife to lure him to be a witness.
Yeah.
Which was, that's one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the movie.
Oh, man. Yeah. You're like, oh, he's so happy. His wife's back now.
You know it's not.
No.
You've already seen the witches shapeshift.
Yep. Oh, my God. Although there is a scene that I think a lot of people will appreciate, which has the witches laughing at naked cops.
That scene was hilarious. That scene was beautiful.
It's also the first tip-off that we get that Susie's actually, like, into this witch idea.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that all said, movie gets thumbs up. It's awesome. You should definitely check it out. I'm glad we did that trailer reaction, too, because this movie exceeded my expectations. It delivered.
Yeah.
It absolutely fucking delivered. I do not have to eat my words on the trailer.
Nope.
So, with that said, where do they find you?
You can find me at The Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, and on YouTube. You can also look me up for Blood Splattered Cinema, which that's also on every platform. In particular, Facebook, you can find me with that. And, yeah.
All right, and you can find me obviously here on this channel. You can find me on Twitch, Count_Jackula. Follow me there. We stream every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram, Satanic Jackula. And yeah, go ahead and I might be on Facebook. Go ahead and look for me there. Whatevs. And until then, Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno, and keep watching fucked up movies.